This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 629 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you, one day at a time. Today's tip is brought to you by EquestrianCollections.com. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is from Betty Fay. Betty has ridden and taught in many disciplines, but lost her heart to dressage. Her teaching style blends biomechanics, communication, and common sense. A true cowgirl in a dressage saddle. Today's tip is about tuning out in order to tune in for a better ride. But first, let's hear from today's sponsor, EquestrianCollections.com.
Hi, Glenn, back with you from the Horse Radio Network. I'm here with Debbie with the Equestrian Collections Product of the Week, and it's baby time.
Yes, it is. This April is when the foals start to come, and we have featuring this week all of our foal halters that we have on our site, because you want to get these babies in their halters almost immediately. In fact, as soon as they're up and nursing and moving around, you can put these halters. They're designed for babies. You can put them on them, and from the very beginning, they're used to halters and they're used to being handled. Totally, I have babies, and I totally recommend that you start doing that right away. We have several different types on our site. We have the Weaver one and the Perry's one, and they have grab straps that go with them, so you can teach the little babies to lead. We've got a little foal lead line that goes with one of the halters, and we've got foal blankets in case you are living in an area that is still cold. We do have that, even though we haven't had much of a winter here. Babies are saved by some of these foal blankets during the colder winter months when they're foaled, or early spring months.
Yeah, I just went into EquestrianCollections.com and searched foal, and you've got foal jewelry, and you've got you got all kinds of things for foal socks.
Right. And I wanted to mention that on our web, be sure and check our Facebook page, our Equestrian Collections Facebook page. We're going to be featuring all kinds of pictures of foals on our pages, and you might want to even participate and send some pictures of your own baby.
Well, that's terrific. It's EquestrianCollections.com. Just search for foal or foal halter or foal blanket, any one of those, and you'll find the entire selection there at EquestrianCollections.com. Thank you, Debbie. We'll talk to you again next week.
And now enjoy today's tip. And welcome back, Betty Fay, my favorite cowgirl dressage rider. What kind of really handy-dandy tip have you got for us today? Because I love your tips, because I can take them right out to the barn and use them.
Thank you, Jennifer. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about focus in the saddle. It's very similar to what yoga aficionados and Buddhists can talk about when they talk about living in the moment. Sounds complicated, huh?
Oh, it sounds deep. Let me loosen up my headphones here. Okay, now we're good.
Well, when you ride, and you're having one of those really great rides, when you get off, you don't realize that the reason it was so great was because you weren't thinking about the pile of laundry at home, or the stalls that need to be cleaned, or the office project that you're working on. You were paying attention to your horse. But sometimes it's really easy to get distracted and let those things interfere with your ride. And, we spend all this time and all this money on these horses, and we really need to learn to tune those things out so that we can enjoy our horses and try to do that every time we get on their back.
Oh.
So some days it's not so easy to do that, is it?
No, it's not. Help me with that, because where I ride a lot, there are dogs running around, there's barking, there's tractor trailers on the interstate 100 yards away. Help me with that.
Well, horse people do have to be aware of those things, too, in a peripheral kind of way, because those are things that can affect our horse. A tractor coming down the road pulling a big flatbed trailer, that, especially if it's empty, making a lot of rattling noises, can spook your horse. So you can't have such tunnel vision that you don't notice those things, but you have to be aware of those things. But it's in a soft way, like Sally Swift would talk about using your soft eyes.
Oh, I think you've hit on something there. There's the difference between being aware of something and having that same thing intrude upon your focus on what the real task is. So because I see that a lot. You see a lot of riders that develop the tunnel vision where they're riding around and they're so zoned in on what they're doing aboard their horse or with their horse that they become unaware of their surroundings, and then suddenly the horse spooks and leaps right out from underneath of them. But it was because they were completely unaware. So that's a very interesting thing to touch on right there.
Yeah, it's not something that we can always manage to do every day. But the people that achieve it the most are the most successful riders, the most successful competitors in the arena, because they are focusing on their horse. And it starts with, I think, subconsciously for most people, but you can develop that habit yourself by just starting to focus on your breath and your horse's breath. You're aware of the other things that are going on. Don't let them bother you. It's there. Don't get mad at yourself that you're thinking about them, that you're seeing the things coming down the road or the dog around the arena. That's fine. But just start breathing, because breathing unlocks everything. In and out, and then count your breaths. You don't need to close your eyes, because that's not always a good thing to do on a horse. But then start being aware of your horse's breath, because once you're aware of your horse's breath, you're really aware of the key to his emotions. He's going to hold his breath if he gets nervous, just like we do. If that car coming down the road is a concern, or that dog running through the field, he's going to tighten up and start to hold his breath as well. You can kind of feel him expand underneath you the more and more frightened he gets.
That's true. You're absolutely right. They kind of take a deep breath and hold their breath, and their eyes kind of bug a little bit. That's a very good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if he is doing that, get him to move, because you can't move too well and walk and breathe, hold your breath at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask him to walk, or walk a little circle. Give him a chance to get his breathing back together, get him to lower his head a little bit. It'll get him to exhale, a little distraction, and then you've got his focus back as well as your own. And you can go back to thinking about your relaxed breathing. Just a nice inhale where you expand your ribs, and repeat that in and out for 10 breaths. Start focusing on your horse, and it just comes.
That sounds so simple, but it's so hard to do.
Well, you can start by talking to your horse, that helps too. If you're having trouble breathing, you can't hold your breath while you're talking, so talk or sing.
There you go. That's a good one. And conversely, a horse can't hold his breath while he's whinnying. So
that's true.
This is one of my pet peeves. People get angry at their horses for whinnying. And they frequently will punish the horse for whinnying because, you're in a warm-up ring at the horse show or something. But
and they get distracted, but they're worried about their buddies.
Yeah, but, it's not necessarily a bad thing that he's whinnying. It's not the end of the world that it's whinnying. It's embarrassing because everybody looks at you because you're that person in the warm-up ring, because it gets everybody else's horse distracted too. But ride through it. Use those skills that you just talked about. Give the horse a task that he can accomplish comfortably, and he'll forget about the whinnying a lot faster than if you smack him upside the head. It's a much more effective way to get your horse to stop whinnying is to give him a job versus let him stop and, kick him in the rib cage or something. So that's just one of my pet peeves. I had to get on my soapbox for a minute.
Well, you're right, and the problem with giving them a job is that we riders sometimes don't want to work that hard. Sometimes they need a job that takes a lot of attention. Turn left, turn right, circle here, circle there, trot down here. You have to ask them a little. You have to ask them kind of rapidly for to distract them. To get their attention back on their work, and then you can slow down a little bit.
Very good. Again, excellent point there is what we think of as I need to distract the horse from his worry about his little friends. Another way to look at that would be to refocus him back on the job at hand. And you're right, if you give them sort of simple, rapid-fire tasks, it's going to be much more successful versus trot around in a 20-meter circle and bend to the left. You might keep repeating the same aids, trot to the left, bend left, circle left. But that's just saying, what is 2 times 2 over and over again to the horse? And he's not going to be so likely to go, oh, yeah, I'm with you. So you're going to give him lots of small tasks in relatively quick succession for the most success in this case.
Exactly. And if you're lucky enough to have cavalettis, that's perfect. 1 cavaletti's not much of a distraction, but 10 are. You have to watch your feet.
Watch your feet, dude. Pay attention. Oh, yeah, and that's very motivating for a horse versus some horses might be less inclined to be motivated to listen to the rider, because there are some horses, let's face it, who are extremely oriented towards their herd group or their perceived herd group, and trying to get their attention away from that is very, very difficult. So there you go. We just got sub-tip after sub-tip going here to help and that's going to help you refocus, because when you're the rider, it's pretty motivating to pay attention to, because the consequences of him stepping on the rails are pretty significant. It could cause him to trip. So it's a great task
you can lose your balance.
Right. For horses and riders, handy-dandy trick, take note, riding instructors right here, when you have riders who are distracted, giving them simple rapid-fire obstacles, for example, 10 ground poles in a row, really is going to help them focus more than trot in a 20-meter circle. Do you see a trend here? Trot in a 20-meter circle is pretty boring stuff for most of us.
Horses as well as people, right?
Horses as well as people. Oh, thank you, Betty Faye. So we're going to be focusing and living in the moment on our horse.
Yes, and we're going to breathe while we do it.
And we're going to breathe.
Thinking about our breath a little bit. Just be aware that when you're holding your breath, try to get back to nice, relaxed breathing, and be aware of your horse's breath. It's going to be a big tip that something's going to happen if he's not exhaling.
There you go.
He's going to be looking at something else.
He's going to be looking at something else. He's going to be looking at the green grass. He's going to be looking at the riding instructor on the rail and stop to visit. The list is long. Wow, great stuff. We've got great sub-tips in there for riders, riding instructors, professionals who have horses who get distracted. We've got something for everybody, Betty Faye.
Very good.
Thanks for stopping by.
You're welcome. I had fun. Thank you.
Well, there you go. To listen to all of Betty Faye's tips, just go to horsetipdaily.com and go to the Experts drop-down menu on the left. Don't forget to support our sponsors here on Horse Tip Daily, because they make these podcasts possible. Today's sponsor has been EquestrianCollections.com. You can go there and check out the wide array of choices in foal halters and other foal accoutrements, including foal jewelry, foal socks, foal halters, foal blankets. It goes on and on and on. Visit them today. EquestrianCollections.com. Please stop by the Horse Tip Daily Facebook page and let us know what you think of the tips you hear on the show. It's also a great place to tell us about topics you'd like to hear us cover on the show. You can subscribe to all the great shows on the Horse Radio Network through iTunes or Zune and get your horse podcasts automatically downloaded to your iPod, Zune, or MP3 player. You can also listen to the shows right on Facebook. The player's right there every day. I'll be back again tomorrow with another new expert and a different horse tip. Until then, go ride your horse! The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.